All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the virtual career fair. We are with Scott Henry this morning, and Scott is from Longview Farms, and he's going to talk a little bit about his career and what he does in his daily life. So really excited to have you on the line with us, Scott, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Great, sounds great. Well, welcome everyone, and both those watching the recording or those live here. As you mentioned, my name is Scott Henry, and I would be one of the owners here at Longview Farms in Nevada. And our operation focuses primarily on corn and soybean production, as well as raising livestock. And so I'm excited to kind of speak with everyone on animal and crop production, as well as can help kind of shine a light on what potential career paths exist, both in this industry as well as some of the support industries that help us kind of get by on a day-to-day basis. But my career here actually started partially because we're a fourth generation family farm. And so none of us are necessarily required to come back to the farm being a family business, but we are kind of have a leg up over others and seeing just what it's like to do this on an everyday basis. And so growing up, I would come out and run equipment and work alongside my dad, and was just truly able to see that the agriculture industry in general was one that seemed very interesting to me. And so I actually went to Iowa State University after graduating from Nevada and got a major in agricultural business, because what really was interesting from my experiences was the actual business of running the farm, not just some of the direct operations. And so my role here focuses a lot on the bigger picture of how can we continue to expand our operation, whether that be growth in acres farmed or growth in new areas of interest. And so over the past several years, we've explored different areas like indoor farming, in addition to what we do outside, raising livestock. And so we would raise pigs and cattle on our farm. And then also just looking at other opportunities for us to work with landowners who are a major part of what we do and what allows us to have more acres to farm every year. And so that's kind of a high level overview, but we would really, my goal today is to really make this a very worthwhile session for you guys. Just assuming that you're in high school trying to figure out what you want to do for a potential career path as it relates to this industry. I would love to just kind of focus on kind of what we do specifically at Longview Farms, as well as if you have interest in maybe ag finance or the processing or marketing of livestock, or even if you're interested in more of the food grade sector and vegetable plant or more horticulture type paths. I would love to just shine a little light on areas where we may have a little experience, or at least be able to help provide direction for those that are looking for that. And so, as I mentioned, my education post high school was both an undergraduate degree in ag business and finance, but also a graduate degree receiving an MBA. I don't think that you need to have a higher level education to do certain things in this industry. We work with a lot of folks that have both a high school degree and a college degree or an associate's degree, in just varying different levels. And what we found is not necessarily the education that you have being the differentiating factor for us. What it is truly is your passion for what you're doing on a day-to-day basis and your willingness to work hard. And so when we think about caretaking livestock, and so for us specifically taking care of 15,000 pigs every day or 8,500 head of cattle, whether or not you have an animal science degree, to me, is less important as do you have a sense of care for animals to where they can be humanely treated, even when they get bullheaded or you're having a tough day dealing with all the different crazy things that can happen on a livestock farm, that your love and passion and care for animals trumps all education and from our perspective. And so for us, it truly does allow a lot of people the opportunity to get started here with us, but also I think more broadly in the industry. I think if you're going to go outside of the production realm, which I would define as the operator level of whether it's be running equipment or caretaking for the animals on a day-to-day basis, and if you're wanting to move beyond that into a level of management or oversight to where you are dealing with budgets and things like that, there is a level of financial training that can come from having a college degree or an associate degree. And that is one that I think us being in central Iowa here are so blessed to have institutions like DMACC and Iowa State, who both have top-notch agricultural programs and good business sources as well. And so I would really encourage everyone to think about just kind of where their paths would kind of intersect here, and use that to kind of drive what your post-high school decisions are. And to the extent that a college degree is part of that path, I'd highly encourage you to stay local here. We also obviously work with a lot of different businesses that support us. And so that's one thing about the agriculture industry in general, is that being a farmer is actually a very small percentage of the agriculture industry now. And so much more of it is focused on providing us with the help and support that we need to raise a crop or take care of animals. And so that can be anything from providing financing, as I earlier mentioned, but also providing the inputs that are needed. So seed, fertilizer, chemicals, equipment. On the animal side, it could be feed or the pharmaceutical products that we use to keep animals healthy on our farm. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can get involved in this industry. And it truly just comes down to what's your passion and what is your interest level. And so that's where, if you like sales, there's tremendous amounts of opportunity. If you like finance, working with a local bank or a specific ag bank that really focuses on serving the farm sector. We have a lot of those opportunities even here in Story County. And so I think that the kind of, when you think about the types of career that your education can provide or support or give you a leg up on, I think all of those, I think the world's your oyster is a phrase I'd probably use there. But the thing about agriculture in general is that it is a 365-day-a-year job. And so that can be a challenge at times, whether you're trying to accomplish certain levels of work-life balance, as well as a very rewarding feeling, though, too, when you get to work outside and see what Mother Nature and the beauty that she provides. And so there's a lot of different aspects of the job that are both fun but are challenging. But when you're taking care of animals, they have to be fed every day. They have to be taken care of, make sure that they're not sick or in pain ever. And so it's not a job that you can work 8 to 5, 5 days a week. And not saying you'll never get a vacation by any means, because we obviously all work together and support one another. But you never know what type of, for example, we may have a well pump that provides water to our pigs go out on Christmas morning. We can't just not go fix that, because we're trying to make sure that the animals that we provide care for are always in a very positive environment. And so those are just some of the real high level aspects of the industry in general, and who Longview Farms is. I think if you were to ask me though, what I love about my job, it truly does come down to the variety of things that I can do on any given day. And so, for example, yesterday, right now we're in the middle of harvest. And so in the morning, I was dealing with a lot on the livestock side of our business, dealing with, we are applying manure from our hog barns to our crop fields. We use that as an organic form of nitrogen fertilizer for our fields, trying to be more sustainable and being a better producer when it comes to conservation efforts in the environment. And so we were dealing with manure haulers in the morning. In the afternoon, and later in the morning, we had a monthly financial update call with our feedlot manager. And then in the afternoon, I was out in the harvest fields where we have combines and grain carts and semis running. And so I think that's the beauty of this. If you want a job where you're not going to just do the same thing over and over, you truly have a new day every day. This is an industry where you will get that opportunity to have a lot of variety in what you do. And I think that's enjoyable for a lot of people. And that's why a lot of people like coming into agriculture. I think some of the hardest things that I think obviously I can't not talk about. One of the things we love too, obviously, is just the joy that is seeing new life, right? So when you have baby pigs or seeing a calf being born on our feedlot, even out in the pasture, there are some things that are just that are truly beautiful and truly fun to be a part of, and so we also very much enjoy that, as well as the satisfaction that comes from putting together a plan in the winter for a row crop entity, executing that plan through 6 months of the middle part of the year, and then at harvest coming in and pulling out a crop. You do get that on an annual basis in this industry, where you truly can make a plan, execute it, and then reap the rewards and benefits of it, as well as take part in the risk. So for us, I think that's also a big reason why a lot of people do enjoy farming and are willing to work through some of what I'll talk about next, which are the hard parts of our job. And I think I mentioned earlier that it is 365 days a year. And so there's not a period of time where you're ever off and from your mind standpoint. And so that can be a difficult adjustment. I think because of the benefits of having a variety of things to do on a daily basis, there's also a level of unpredictability to that as well. And so, so being a person that can adjust and adapt to new things or to whatever kind of the world throws at you that day is definitely a requirement, and can be a hard adjustment at times. But I think, and I think finally, there is levels of regulations out there that you have to also maintain and be up on. Whether for us on the livestock side of things that we do, there are a lot of rules that we must follow, and so making sure that not only are we providing the best care for the animals that we take care of, but also that we are staying up to date on what rules we need to follow as it relates to the care we provide, or how we utilize the manure application, or how we handle chemicals on the farm side that are needed to control weeds. And so there is a level of that that I'd be honest with you and tell you there's a headache factor with some of it, but for the most part, we as farmers and producers understand that all of those are there for good reason and are in place not only to protect us and our animals, but also our neighbors as well. And so we do work hard to make sure that we're up to date on all of that. And so that's probably kind of what I love about what I get to do on every day and what makes my life difficult at times. But I think that if you're considering this field for maybe areas that I haven't discussed today, so think of like if you want to go into horticulture and raise vegetables or flowers, If you think about the different greenhouses that we have, even surrounding the Ames community, and the opportunities that exist there, what we found is that there is tremendous opportunity because consumers are really looking for a locally grown food source. And so to the extent that you want to raise vegetables and sell them at the Ames Farmers Market, I think there's a lot of opportunity for things like that. And if that's really an area of interest for you, I think that you can really make a successful career for yourself doing that. And you can be your own boss. I think that's maybe a comment I haven't made yet, that this industry, more than others, I think does lend itself to an entrepreneurial thinker and a person that wants to build their own business and be their own boss, more so than other maybe more corporate tracks. And so that is one advantage as well here. If I could provide you guys with any advice, I think the biggest piece of advice that I would share with you as it relates to agriculture specifically is twofold. One, if you've grown up in a family farm environment or around agriculture, then I think that you maybe understand some of the difficulties of it. But my advice to you would be to that portion of the group would be, make sure that you're not just doing something because you feel forced to do it, or feel that because it's a family business that's the only path for you. I'd encourage you actually to go out and see what other opportunities exist within the industry, and find ways that your passions and what you want to pursue can provide for you the most accomplishment and satisfaction, not settling for status quo or tradition. If you're someone that's grown up maybe more in an urban setting, or have not been involved on a farm or in the agricultural industry directly, I would really encourage you to get an internship or do a job shadow and do it with a farmer or a lender, or go up to one of the stands at Ames Farmers Market and just talk to them and see if you can go spend a day or a week with them and truly see and experience what we go through on a day-to-day basis, and what it's like, what the life of production agriculture is, both livestock and row crops. I think that one of the concerns that we have as an employer when we've hired folks is there's a lot of people that will come into our business without any prior, not experience in the sense of we want you to have X number of experience or things like that, because we don't require that, but more just a general understanding of what it is that you're getting into, because it is hard. And there are aspects of what we do that are not easy to understand from a family perspective. If you think about our lives right now, we're working 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And we've gone 30 days without a day off because we're in the middle of harvest. And so there's just some of those aspects that can be difficult. Now there's a lot of reward that comes through it too. And sometimes you have to experience it to truly understand. But I do think that from a production level standpoint, just getting some level of prior just experience on a farm or in a livestock setting, and it doesn't have to be, for us, it's corn, soybeans, pigs, and cows. It doesn't have to be that. It could be an internship at Hollab's and looking at flowers, or and kind of doing more of the consumer retail aspect of the industry, or it could be working with your local bank and just traveling around the countryside with the lender. And so from our perspective, I think that experience is always good there to have. I think if I was going to give you advice from an education standpoint, it would be, first and foremost, stay local and go to Iowa State or DMAC, because you truly would be hard pressed to find a better place to learn. And I would also encourage you to get involved in clubs and organizations that are directly tied to areas of interest that you're looking at doing. So whether that Iowa State, that could be the Ag Business Club, there's the Animal Science Club, Block and Bridle, if you have interest in like the horse equestrian, livestock showing, or in judging groups. There's all kinds of opportunities there. There's a horticulture club, an agronomy club. And so to the level of your interest, I think that there's a lot of opportunities to get networked and involved with others that can help support you as you kind of embark on your adventure in this industry, and to truly get to see what those opportunities are. And then lastly, I think if I think about what's the job outlook look like, right? You're maybe sitting there wondering, okay, if I want to go into agriculture, is there even going to be a job for me when I graduate from high school or graduate from college? And I think, amidst the craziness that has been 2020 and just the overall environment that we are in right now, one of the industries that is still performing well and providing job opportunities is agriculture. And so I think that there's tremendous outlook. I also think that there's tremendous opportunity with the new innovations and technologies that are coming into our industry for somebody who has interest in just in data and or looking at advanced technologies around electric vehicles even. If you think about the tractors that we operate, the combines that we operate, they drive themselves. We are in a field that is ripe for disruption, is one of the terms you'll hear about. And we're seeing how a lot of outside influence from the data and tech world have come in and actually improved what we do and our experience on a day-to-day basis. And so I don't think that you can put yourself in a box when you enter this industry. I truly think that there are fields of opportunity that really can allow for a very sustainable, long, very fulfilling career. And I think the outlook is strong. It just comes back to what are you passionate about, and how can you truly take advantage of what you want to do. And so with that, I think we got, is it 5 or 10 minutes left here, Amy? I would love to answer any questions that you have, and I can see here in the chat that there's a couple of them that have come through. And so I think a normal day for me is there is no such thing as a normal day. We really do have a variety of things that we do, but many days it's spending time with animals and then spending time with people. And so whether it's taking care of the pigs or our feedlot is not here in Story County for our cattle. And so we have another manager that does run that for us, but it could be an update call there. And then this time of year, it's a lot of just getting out into the field and helping with harvest. And so there's plenty of that. But on top of it, I don't want to discount the fact that farming still is a business as well. And so today we have a meeting with our banker to discuss the loans that we use to operate. And so it's just very, it's rewarding because we get to do a little bit of everything, but at the same time, it's very, it varies from day to day. So, but yeah, no. One of the questions on here was, how many people do we employ? So Longview Farms and all of our interrelated entities would employ roughly about 17 full-time people. And so if you think about our row crop farm, so we always think about it, who works for who works on the farm, who works with the pigs, and who works with the cows. And so for us, it is it's a deal where we have about 8 folks that work on our row crop entity or the farming entity. We have 2 guys that focus specifically on the pigs every day. And then we have another roughly 7, sometimes it will be upwards of 9 people that work with the cows. And from our perspective, the other opportunity that this industry lends itself to, if you're someone that has interest in working 8 to 5 somewhere else, but wanting additional opportunities for hours or to make money, we actually employ a lot of part-time and seasonal help during harvest. And so, for example, right now, our harvest crew is actually 15 people in and of itself. And in the months of October to March, our feedlot, that's usually when we have the most cows or cattle on feed. And so we'll employ upwards of 10 to 12 people there. And so it does vary, but it's definitely one that I think provides opportunities for employment. And obviously, if you look at our organization, you can come in as an operator and continue to work yourself up as far as management and leadership, and obviously pay as well there. Another question on here is it hard for people to get into farming or agriculture if you haven't grown up on a farm? And I think that the shorter answer to that is, I think it used to be harder, but because of the new influences coming into our industry from Silicon Valley and the technology and the data and finance and everything else, I think that you can get involved in agriculture and farming and never actually touch a tractor. And that's a good thing from my perspective. And so I think that if you wanted to own your own farm and farm a couple thousand acres, it would be very difficult right now to just come in and do that. But there's ways that you can easily get involved through whatever else or other experiences you may have. What is your favorite moment that you've experienced on the farm? I love that question. For me, there's many moments. I think that the two that I'd share with you, one is when we're working at harvest, we oftentimes will work past dark. And so you get to experience the beauty that is Mother Nature on a day-to-day basis. And so when I think about coming over a hill in a combine, going west and seeing a tremendously orange harvest sunset, there's a level of appreciation in that is only experienced by those that are in that moment, right? It's hard to put to words, but that is something that it helps make you get up and do it again the next day for sure. I think the other one, though, I'm going to share with you. It was when I was 15 years old, and people sometimes will ask, when did you know that you wanted to do this for a living? And so I was 15 years old. We raise seed corn here as one of our kind of specialty products or value add opportunities. And so we have to go detassel seed corn, which I know that you've probably all heard of. And there's a lot of opportunities for high school students to rogue and detassel, but I was driving the equipment portion of it, and I was able to see that how they mechanically detassel using laser technology, if you can believe it, that actually automatically adjusted everything on that I was running. And I was able to see that farming was not just this old McDonald had a farm type setting, right? Where you have a red barn and 2 cows and 3 pigs, and all you do every day is shovel manure. I was able to see that, no, there is a technological aspect to what we're doing. There's developments coming each and every day. And it's really cool to see and be a part of innovation that impacts just a very traditional, long-serving industry. And I think the last point that I maybe would leave you with, because I think we are coming up close to time here, is farming in the agricultural sector, whether it's livestock or production agriculture, you are at the core of everything that we do in society. You are providing the food, the fiber for clothing, the feed for livestock that will ultimately serve not just food, but many different industries and fuel. And even though very few people are connected to a farm now, there's less and less that grew up on a farm, our industry still touches every person in the world every single day. And that's really cool to be a part of. And I would encourage all of you to consider that as a potential career path. So Amy, that's all I got, but I thank you guys had some great questions. I appreciate that. And thank you for being a part of this.